On this episode of the Level Up Lounge, we sit down with personal trainer to athletes, UFC fighters, and yours truly, Jamal Hamid. And for our Punch in the Face segment, I talk about getting through the next level, how to break through the barriers that are limiting your growth. Let's kick it off.
You're listening to the Level Up Lounge podcast.
Level up. Level up.
Level up. Level up.
Level up.
Level up. You're listening to the Level Up Lounge podcast.
Welcome, guys. We are back. It is season 2 of the Level Up Lounge. We took a little bit of a break, or quite a long break there, but we're excited to be back with a new twist on things. So season 1, we focused just on martial arts entrepreneurs, martial arts consultants. We're putting a twist on things for season 2 and really going to be more entrepreneur focused and more focused on people that are just attaining a high level of success at whatever they do. So I'm excited to have Jamal Hamid as our first guest on our show because he has trained UFC fighters, he's trained professional athletes, Hall of Famers, and he's even training me as well. So I'm excited for you guys to really hear about what he has to share about his story, how he's gotten to where he is now, and then also just some great knowledge for you guys to help with your personal health and fitness. And then in today's Punch in the Face episode,
a punch in the face.
I'm going to be talking about how to break through the barrier that is limiting your growth. So how to push through that and get to the next level. So I'm excited to share that with you guys today. But right now, let's get into the interview with my man, Jamal. All right, what's up, Level Up Lounge? I'm excited. I'm here with probably like one of the first people I actually got to hang out with in New York and like be around a lot. Knows more about fitness and the human body and how it reacts to different things, how it adjusts, and the changes that you can make to like literally get in peak performance. I'm here with my man, Jamal. How's it going, Jamal?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm excellent, man. So those of you guys that don't know Jamal, I've actually talked about him in some of my live videos. I don't even know if he knows that. All good things, though, I promise.
That's good.
Jamal is like, the first time I met him was at a boxing class that he was teaching. And I went with Nick, and I was sort of in the mindset, like, I've done martial arts my whole life. This would be a good shoulder workout, like, whatever. I almost puked like 3 times during that first class. And like to this day, it was probably the best workout I've ever had, like whole body workout. And it was like a punch in the face that I needed to like sort of get my shit together and get in shape, which is awesome. So I wanted Jamal to be on our show for a few different reasons. Number one, this guy has a way of telling stories and like putting things in like a metaphorical phrase that just gets it to stick with you. Just like some of the advice that he's given me on eating right and working out and stuff. Like I remember like every piece of it just because of how he phrases things, which is awesome. Also, like he's trained UFC fighters before. He's training boxers, athletes. Like in New York, he is like the go-to guy for all things personal training, fitness, and health. And I was like, this is someone that every entrepreneur needs to hear from because health is one of the most important parts of running a successful business. So Jamal, I want you to sort of tell your story and give everyone a little bit of background on sort of how you got into the field that you're in of doing personal training and like what age you started to get into all that.
Well, I'll put it to you this way. I grew up, obviously, very poor. I've told you that before. And my parents came to me when I was about 13 years old, and they said, you know, listen, I don't know if school is going to be the way to go. I think you should probably think about dropping out of school and probably becoming a garbage man or a sanitation engineer of some sort. They got great benefits because we can't afford college. So you just figure out what you're going to do. So at that point, I said to myself, Self, I'm doing well in sports. Maybe if I just go to the library and get some books on fitness and just working out and diet and supplementation, maybe it'll help me to possibly get a scholarship. So I go to the library, I get all these books. The first book I got, I don't know why it was this one, but it jumped out at me just probably because of the cover. And the first movie I ever seen in my life from Blockbuster was Commando. So there's an encyclopedia of bodybuilding by Arnold Schwarzenegger. So I get that book and I come home and I'm reading that book. There's, everything is bodybuilding in that encyclopedia. Doesn't really touch on overall fitness, but it's got a basic, thorough workout routines that you could follow just to hit the total body. They have some diet information in the bag, supplements, the whole 9 yards. So I got that book, I got a strength and conditioning book, I got a nutrition book. I started reading and doing things on my own. And I didn't have any money for a gym membership. So my father used to be into bowling. So I used to fill his bowling bag up with like rocks and cans and shit, and I would be doing curls and shoulder press and push-ups and sit-ups. Whatever I could do at home, I did. And by the time I was able to get a job, I was a lifeguard, which was at that time a great job for me to have. I got paid great wages per hour. But the best part about it was you work in the shallow end for 20 minutes, deep end for 20 minutes, you get an hour and 40-minute break. And you get paid for it. It's wonderful. So my theory was every hour and 40-minute break I have, I'm going to do something. I'm going to work out. So I would go to school all day, and I would get to play my sport and I went to Hofstra University. That's where I was lifeguarding. I would work from 6:30 to 12 every night. So I would get on the stand at 6:40 to 7, 7 to 7:20, and I would jump in the pool and swim for an hour and 40 minutes. I'd swim a little more than 2 miles. I'd get out. I was a sprinter when I swam as well, so swimming more than 2 miles was a kick in the ass. But it was I needed to do it. I had to get a scholarship for either swimming, track, baseball, or football. That's what I was good at. That's what I excelled at. So I was like, whatever. If they want me to be a long-distance swimmer, I got to do it. The next break I had, I ran a few miles. The next break I had, I hit the gym again. And I still said to myself, this is not enough.
And already that's more than most people do in a week.
yeah, definitely. I was one-track minded at that time.
Yeah.
I had complete tunnel vision. I just needed to go to college. I know I needed to go to college. Okay, I see my father being very upset all the time when it came to finances, and growing up the way I did, my grandparents didn't have money. They raised me, and it was just crazy just having to share apples at night for dinner sometimes. Like, it was just horrible. And I would look at my grandfather's face, and he would just be like, eat. He would cut the skin off and give me the meat of the apple. And I'd be like, Granddad, you can have some too. He's like, no. You're young. That's what you need. Me, crazy. The vitamins are in this, the skin. I'm gonna eat this. And I used to be like, so I may be young, but I ain't dumb, man. Like, that's not enough. We gotta share this. And it just really, I may not be a great businessman, but when it comes to a work ethic and not ever want to see that look on somebody's face in my life, that's the reason I do what I do.
It's awesome, man.
So I just, I was like, I'm going to get up every morning at 4 o'clock. I'm going to run 2 miles to Hofstra University. I'm going to swim 2 miles in the pool, hit the gym, and I'm going to walk to school. I'm going to get to school just in time for homeroom. I'm going to go through all day of school, play my sport, leave there, walk back to Hofstra, and work till 12 o'clock at night and walk home. And I'm going to start the day off. Every day, I literally was staring at my alarm clock at 3:55, waiting for 4 o'clock. The alarm went off, I smashed it, I grabbed my bag, walking out the door with my toothbrush in my hand and running. Ran my 2 miles, swam my 2 miles, hit the gym, walked to school, did my sport, came back, worked, and even when I was working, I would still work out in between my breaks.
That's awesome.
So by my sophomore year, I actually had the ability to get picked up by a minor league baseball team. And my parents didn't want me to do that. They said if they want you now, they'll want you then finish high school. They'll want you eventually finish high school. Make sure you get your education. So that like changed already. First it was like be a sanitation engineer. Now it's like make sure you get your education. I'm like, you guys gotta make up your mind because I'm ready to leave. They're talking about $30,000. It's the most money I ever heard in my life, which is not a lot.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I can do this. I'm 16. Like that would be great. Didn't do it. I stayed in school. I broke a lot of records. Played every sport that I played: swimming, track, baseball, football, and I did very well. I excelled. And in the beginning of my junior year, I was recruited to almost 700 schools.
That's all.
And it felt like it was actually getting annoying, the amount of paperwork I was getting. I actually had an agent at the time, believe it or not. It was crazy. I went from shit to sugar. That's a great story because I went from having nothing to being the only kid in my school, which was in the hood, with a huge cell phone, like one of those big old school. You know what I'm saying? Like
the briefcase
with the cord on it and everything. And I was just like, what am I doing walking around with this? But at this time, I was a junior, so I already had some size on me and working out. I didn't have to worry about people like thinking they're gonna get the best of me and try to steal my cell phone. But it was like walking around with a payphone on my back the whole day, you know. And it never ever rang. Yep. It never rang. So it was just like, you know, this kid's just showing off or whatever. But I signed to play at the University of Maryland, and I was a redshirted for football, and I played baseball. I had a big falling out with my coach for baseball, which was just heartbreaking. I went to school. My parents were like, well, if you're going to go to college and it's free, you might as well go pre-med. You're great in sciences. So I was pre-med first. So all the prerequisite classes were all the bios, the chemistries, the physics, the whole nine yards, right? I did well at it, but when I had to get into doing clinicals, I absolutely hated the hospital. Hated it completely. I just could not stand to be in an environment that I felt was negative.
Yeah,
and I couldn't be. Oh God, I couldn't be the bearer of bad news. And I know there's some people out there. There's doctors out there that perform miracles.
Yep.
But out of every miracle they perform, how many didn't go well? Yeah. I don't want to be the guy coming into someone's room with their family saying that it didn't go well, and I'm sorry.
Yep.
Me, I take that home with me. That's the kind of shit that I harbor. But then again, that is what's probably going to push me in the gym. But just to get rid of that negative energy. But I can't do that on a daily basis. So I was like, man, I'm doing all this schooling it's a waste. So I figured, you know, my advisor says, switch to physical therapy. I switched to physical therapy while finishing all my prerequisites. I got into doing about 2,500 hours in a physical therapy office, and it was the most boring thing I ever did. And reason being, the physical therapist used to just give me a sheet of paper with the patient laying on the table. Go over and go through these exercises with this patient. You know, take the heat off, take the stim off, whatever, put them through these stretches and these exercises, and they're good to go. And he'll just fill out the paperwork. I don't want to be the guy just sitting down there filling out the paperwork. And then I'm like, all right, well, you know, I think outside the box when it comes to fitness, when it comes to the human body. So when I'm able to expand their strength, their flexibility, you know, their performance, insurance is shutting them off. Now they got to go.
Yep.
So I got a 20-year-old with a meniscus tear, and I got a 90-year-old with a total knee replacement. They're both doing the same stuff within the first couple of weeks. And by the time I can actually start having fun now and advancing their routine, they're out the door because insurance no longer taking care of it. I don't want to deal with that either because now it's just like, once again, the word I hate, complacency. I just sit there and come to work and just fill out paperwork. That's not what I'm here for. That's not what I wanted. So I ended up leaving and going and playing minor league ball. I got injured, came back home. Very short, but I came back home. And the same physical therapist was like, listen, you love fitness so much, you should think about being a personal trainer. And I remember when I was 18 years old, there was a excerpt in the newspaper about send away for a personal training book and all this. You read up and you take the test and you send it back and, you know, you get a certification. So I did it. So I had a certification since I was like 18 years old. And I was just using it just to train myself. I wasn't going around saying I'm a trainer. I just did it just because. And it actually came very easy to me because of all the reading I did over all the years since I was 13 till 8. That's 5 years. And I stayed in the library. You know, I probably still have books from that same library right now. I mean,
That's
I'm
awesome.
being in some serious trouble. But everything when it came to personal training just came easy. So I decided, you know what, maybe I'll do that. He says, and plus, you know what, in a couple of years, you get a good clientele, you'll probably make more money than me. And I have a master's in physical therapy. And I was like, but I have all this schooling, I gotta finish school. You know what, I'm gonna go to school and finish up with a bachelor's in exercise science and rehab. And as I'm there, I realized there's a master's program for exercise physiology. You could either work in a hospital, which I didn't want to, or you can take things to another level and train professional athletes. So I got my master's in exercise phys. I rolled that over also and got another degree in holistic nutrition. So I figured I'm trying to close off every avenue now for the human body. I ended up having interview after interview with the Jets, and unfortunately it's very political. The upper management, one of the owners chose their son, who didn't want to be a financial planner anymore, to try to learn how to be a personal trainer under the strength and condition, the head strength coach, which
That
is great.
explains the Jets' record.
You think? And that is the dude, Sal Alosi, who tripped the guy in the playoffs in the sideline.
I remember that.
Smart dude, very good. And believe it or not, I played against him in football in high school. Wasn't smart then either. Anyway, that's something completely different. But so I ended up getting more certifications in for personal training, different types, all about stretch, you know, muscle imbalances, and things of that nature. And I remember going to my first job, and I didn't think it was going to work out for me. The first client I ever had in the first job, it was a gym I worked out at for a couple of years, so I loved the place. They were open 24 hours. This lady requested me, and she said she wanted to train with me every day at 5 a.m. in the morning. I said, okay, this is what I charge. She says, perfect. And I want you to train my husband every day at 6 p.m. in the evening when he gets off of work. I said, sure. That's 2 clients. That's already 10 sessions a week. I said, good. This will be all right. I train her for a week. I train her husband for a week. The second week comes. I'm in the middle of the week training them, and my manager tells me, Jamal, you know, you owe me such and such amount of money. I said, I'm sorry, they haven't paid me yet. He's like, I don't want to hear it. If you don't pay me this money, I'm going to have to withhold your check. And I was just like...
How old were you at this time?
I was 21. About that.
That's serious. At 20,
20
21, you're
what?
checking
And I just
withheld?
lost all my money, too, from baseball. That's another story.
Yeah.
From playing ball. That's a horrible story. But so I was broke. Like, I was walking 2.5 to 3 miles to this gym. I was leaving my back in the house now, living with my mother again, which I said I would never do once I left. I'm back in the house, living in my mother's basement. I'm walking almost 3 miles every morning in the rain or the cold. I couldn't even afford a taxi. So I had to get there at 4 a.m. in the morning to get ready to train this woman. So the ending of the second week comes. This is 20 sessions in now. And I'll tell you, when I first started, I didn't charge a lot. I charged $60 a session. So, you know, 20 sessions, $60 a session, that's a pretty penny for me right there. So I tell the husband, I'm like, listen, you gotta bring in money because I gotta pay the owner. Sure, I'll bring it in tonight when I come in. He comes in, I totally forgot. Are you gonna work out right after we train? I said, yeah, I always do. He's like, cool. Why don't you work out, and when you're done, I live right up the block and around the corner. Here's my address, come to my house, and I'll have the money for you. Oh, great. I'm gonna finish my workout and everything? Cool. So I work out, I walk over to the house, get to the house, the lights are on. I ring the doorbell, somebody looks through the window, nobody comes to the door. I ring the doorbell again, nobody comes to the door. I ring the doorbell again, nobody comes, so I sit on the stoop and I wait. I know they have children, I don't wanna keep ringing the bell.
Sure.
All of a sudden, a police car pulls up.
Of course.
And the 2 officers come out the car and say they want me to come off the step. They need to speak to me. And I said, no, you don't got to speak to me. He's like, no, we've got a call for a disturbance. I said, no, that's somebody else. I said, I'm supposed to be here. I was like, I know these people, I trained them. I'm not going to divulge their name, but this is such and such house. I'm supposed to be here. They called about you, and you need to step off the property, step away from the premises. Listen, calm down. And I'm like, wait a minute. You're here to remove me. There is no, I'm not being hostile. I'm not causing any kind of noise, no disturbance, nothing. He told me to come here and get my money. So I'm not leaving here till I get my money. Please, sir, just step off the property, come talk to us on the sidewalk. So I was like, you know what? This is not going to end well for me. I'm going to just go over there on the sidewalk. So I go on the sidewalk and they're talking to me about, you're going to have to take them to court or whatever, blah, 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 if this is true. I said, so wait a minute. All right, well, you're here now. You're the police. They owe me money. Why don't you go ring the doorbell and get my money? That doesn't really work like that. I said, it doesn't work like that? So when they call, you come and help them. But you won't help me. So forgive my language, but fuck me, right? Like, doesn't matter what's going on with me. Doesn't matter that I'm being wronged here. They call and lie to you, and you take me off their property. You answer everything they want, but you're not going to help me. I said, okay, officer, believe you me, I'm coming back here again. I said, I'm going to leave, and when you leave, I'm coming back here again. I'm going to get my money. I was like, you don't know what it means to be broke. I was like, I'm coming back here to get my money. So I walk back towards the gym. I see the police officers pull out. I immediately turn back around and come back to the house. They pull back up again. I guess they knew. So they made me turn back around. I went back to the job and I called one of my cousins. I was really upset. And he says, you know what you got to do, right? I said, what? He says, you know what time the husband leaves early in the morning for work? It's like, yeah. He says, well, go further up the block by the train station and wait for him. Approach him then. I said, bet. I didn't go home all night. I waited and waited and waited in the gym, and I walked up to the Long Island Railroad and waited for him. I'm watching his house. I could see it from up the block. I see him coming down the block. So I jump out on him, not literally, but I walk up to him, and he's got this look on his face, and I'm like, look, my man, I know you got 2 babies at home. I was like, you told me to come to your house so you could give me my money. Let's put it this way. Let's make it real simple, real easy. Give me my money now, or there's going to be a problem. I don't want there to be a problem. All I want you to do is pay me for the service I provided. That's it. If it wasn't good enough, you should have told me that before you used 20 of them. So please just pay me my money. Sure enough, he went to cut me a check, and I said, no. There is no checks. You need to find a way to get me money. I said, we can go to ATM, and you can try to withdraw as much money as you can, but I need cash. Sure enough, walks me up the block to an ATM, starts pulling out money, good. So I go back, I pay my manager. At this point in my life, I was like, shit, what am I gonna do? I never wanna deal with this again. I don't wanna be a personal trainer if this is what it's all about. If I have to be chasing people around for money and all this, like, this is bringing out a part of me that I don't want anybody to know. No one should have the power over me to make me that upset. So I was like, I'm not gonna train anymore. I'm done. This is it for me. My grandfather ended up passing away. I went through a crazy depression. I gained weight. I went from being 197 pounds to about 300 pounds.
If you guys haven't seen Jamal, he's like the most in shape person I've met in my life.
So I was in a bad place. Like I said, my grandparents raised me. I quit the job as a personal trainer, and I was in my mother's basement. No one could come downstairs. I was eating whole trays of lasagna. I mean, 3-4 pies of pizza, like just fried. I mean, you could think everything you could think of. I was just like, just wallowing in this like, just pain. I was so depressed. I just let my beard grow out, and I was probably one of the most clean-cut dudes around. Like, I always had a fresh haircut.
Yeah.
So I was just like, in a bad place. Anybody who came downstairs in my mom's basement trying to get me to leave, I wanted to go to blows. I wanted to throw hands with them so bad. Until one day, all my cousins came down, my friends, they were like, look, you need to stop. You need to get back to work. You need to get back to the gym. And I was like, man, get out of here. So one day, they were like, this time it was in the summer, and they were like, listen, we're going to the beach. Why don't you come to the beach? So we go to the beach, right? I've told you this story before. And we're in the beach, everybody's taking pictures, we're hanging out, whatever. I'm actually cracking a smile now, I'm feeling okay. We come home. A couple days later, I'm at my friend's house playing video games. Still no job, no thought of a job. Still thinking I'm like, a decent looking guy. He's flicking through his computer with the pictures that he took at the beach. And as I'm playing video games, I glance over and I see this picture and I'm like, who the fuck is that? He was like, where? He scrolled over. I said, no, go back to the picture. Yeah, who is that? They're like, Jamal, that's you. I said, no. That right there, what I'm pointing at. They're like, Jamal, that's you. I said, that is not what I look like from behind. My love handles were so big, it looked like I had 2 pairs of ass cheeks, okay? All right? Like, if I wipe my ass, I gotta wipe my love, in between my love handles too. Like, it was so crazy that I could pull my wallet out my back pocket over my shoulder, okay? Like, I was fat. I was like, if I fought bad, I'm gonna have a shit stain on my back. That's how bad it was. So I said, you know what? I'm done, completely. I literally looked at this and it was so bad, I wanted to call every other girl I was with at the time to apologize for walking around their apartment naked thinking I was the shit. I was like, there's no way. I wanted to be like, I'm so sorry for putting you through this. And I was like, I have to change this. So now I have these degrees and I was always telling people what to do. I said, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna cut out yeast, wheat gluten, dairy, simple sugar. And I'm gonna do this until I come back down to where I was when I was playing ball. I was 197 pounds.
And
I'm gonna get shredded. I have to.
What did you weigh at this point?
Almost 300 pounds.
Oh, wow.
So within 4.5 to 5 months, I was down to a shredded, ripped to the bone, 217 pounds.
Holy shit.
And so as I'm starting to lose a little bit, I get down to 280 pounds. I get a job at New York Sports Club. Now I got a membership at New York Sports Club. My boy got me the membership because I had no money. I went in there just to work out, to clear my mind. This person who follows baseball and used to play minor league baseball recognized me. Shit, I don't know how. I was like huge. He told the manager. The manager came to me while I was working out and he was like, yo, are you looking for a job? Are you interested in working here? We don't have anybody of your caliber here. And I'm like, does he see how fat I am? Like, and I had on a big sweatshirt, big sweatpants or whatever. He's like, I was told that you used to play professional sports, blah, 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 this and that. And I was just like, yeah, that's an old me though, man. I'm just here to just try to clear my mind. And he's like, listen, why don't you clear your mind and make some money at the same time? He says, nobody in this gym has seen anyone like you. We don't have any trainer like you. You could sell yourself so great here. I'm like, I'm not looking to sell anything, man. I just want to work out. I just want to lose some weight, this and that. So he said, come on, just come upstairs, talk to me. So we get upstairs, we're talking. I said, listen, you know what? I got to be honest with you. I have a prior too, man. You're going to look me up. You're not going to give me a job. He's like, I don't care. I'm glad you told me, but I don't give a shit. He's like, I want you to work here. I think you'll kill it. So I said, you know what? All right, I'll work here. I said, I'll start tomorrow. So I come in the next day, I don't have a uniform. I'm sitting down speaking to some managers, and they're like, look, give yourself a good 8 months. In about 8 months, you should have a decent clientele base, making about $50,000 to $60,000 a year. I said, who? What? I said, no. Give me a month and a half. They're like, no, Jamal, look, the people around here, they're very wealthy, so they have to get accustomed to you first and feel comfortable, and not for nothing. You're not a very, approachable looking guy. So I'm like, no, it's fine. I'll make it happen. Don't worry. So I go to turn and leave the office, and the manager's like, yeah, the deadlifting of the 700 pounds in the back, stop. Don't do that anymore. Nobody in this gym wants that. You need to make yourself.
This wasn't a Planet Fitness?
No, definitely not. Shit, I got shot. So he's like, you need to make yourself more marketable. You have the education, you got the knowledge, you got the history, the background, the resume. Just make yourself marketable for these people. At this point, I was like, I'm on the diet now. I'm gonna kick it into high gear. So I was like, do you mind if I come in even the days that I'm not on shift, just to work, walk around, meet people? He's like, do whatever you like. So the gym was open from 5 a.m. to 10 o'clock at night. I was at the gym every day for 8 years, from 5 o'clock in the morning to 10 o'clock at night. Within 2.5 months, I had a booked, packed schedule where the only other trainer on the East Coast was doing 170 sessions, and he won the High Impact Award 4 years in a row. I was averaging 384 sessions a month.
Oh, shit.
I was like, you know what I got for my High Impact Award for 4 years in a row? A goddamn hat. A hat. I don't even wear hats. I said, this is the thing. I
gave you a hat.
Is a hat, and one of those ugly ones with the leather strap on the back, like,
Yeah.
I'm like,
Gave you a dad hat.
What is this? What is this? I mean, it should at least been a fitted. I'm from the hood. Like, come on. So I was like, I got to change and start pulling my business elsewhere. But at this point, I had came down. I was shredded, 217. And I was like, wow, I did it. Here we go. And everyone noticed it. Clients, members, everything. They not only did they see the workouts I was putting everybody through and other people reaching their goals, they were like, this kid is over here changing as he's going as well. I feel like every week he's looking completely different. And sure enough, I just was cardio, weights, diet, and I just didn't stop until I reached my goal. And then as soon as I reached my goal, I started setting more goals for myself. I always give myself some kind of crazy, goal just to keep me on top of myself. To keep myself honest, to hold myself accountable. I like to be held accountable. If I do something wrong, don't be like, it's okay. Nah, you gotta be like, Jamal, you gotta make it up to me, man. You gotta do this. That's just how I am. That's how I function. Not that I need that from people.
Sure.
But that's just how I am. You know what I mean? It makes me feel better as a person. So that's what started me off, personal training. And from that job, I branched off doing my own thing, opening my own business, doing boot camps, in-home personal training, training athletes, professional athletes, Hall of Fame football players, UFC fighters, professional kickboxers, boxers, and just, by the grace of God, just built my overall resume.
It's awesome.
And that's where I'm at today, doing it for over 20 years.
So I think the crazy thing is, every time I talk to you about something related to fitness, not only do you educate me on something, but you explain it in a very scientific, easy to understand. I don't even know how that goes together, scientific and easy to understand, but you make it work, which is awesome. And considering that you've trained people of all different sports, demographics, really wealthy, successful people as well. I know a lot of the people in this that listen to this are business owners. And I heard about a Richard Branson interview, the guy that owns Virgin Airlines. They asked him the number one secret to his success. And he said exercise.
Exercise, 100%.
Exercise.
I guess, you know what? Increasing blood flow is just going to make you think and function better. You ever seen a salesperson over the phone, like online sales? No one's sitting down. Everybody's up and moving around.
Yep.
Any little way you can increase blood flow and decrease stress, it's going to make you more efficient in anything you do, as far as using your mind.
Sure.
You understand? So there's a saying, too. You can't love someone else unless you love yourself first. You can't help someone else unless you help yourself first. So how do you plan on being successful and helping people if you're not taking care of yourself?
It's true, man.
You can always give so much more if you can take so much more. Like, that's just how it goes. You get up and you devote the time for yourself. People that are wealthy, some of them, a lot of them, for lack of better terms, will be a little selfish. Not selfish as far as they're not generous in what they want to give, but selfish as far as like they know their time. They know what they're worth. They know what they have to do for themselves to make themselves happy, to keep themselves doing what they're doing.
That makes sense, man. I think one of the things, like, Jamal's got a great background in the story. He's not talking about his one downfall is that he thinks LeBron is better than Jordan. We won't get into that.
That's another podcast.
So
I need some help.
Yeah, just to give you guys a little background on this. This is awesome. Nick knows that I'm a huge Michael Jordan fan, and he is the one that introduced me to Jamal, and knew Jamal was like a huge LeBron fan.
I'm a Jordan fan too.
Yeah, but you think LeBron is better?
I think he does more.
All right, well, we won't get into that.
Go ahead.
So we're sitting at dinner. We're sitting at dinner, and Nick goes, Adam Jamal. He's like, let me ask you guys something. He's like, who do you guys think is better, Jordan or LeBron?
And then he gets up and walks out.
Then Nick gets up and leaves the table. And Jamal and I were there for like 30 minutes, like in this passionate debate, like defending our honor for like our favorite player. It was awesome. I know if we get into that, this podcast will go on for another hour.
At least.
Yeah. So I know a lot of people that listen to this own gyms, some own personal training businesses, a lot own martial arts schools. And one of the things that like I'm really big on is I think if you're doing anything where you're teaching something physical, sport, martial arts, fitness, you have to lead by example. And
100%.
And I think you are like the extreme version, like negative % body fat, like perfect shape, always eating healthy. What advice can you give to the people that are running these sort of fitness-based businesses that maybe let themselves go a little bit, or maybe we're in great shape one time and sort of like hit, I don't know, midlife crisis, whatever it is, but it got into like the daily grind of running a business and stopped taking care of themselves?
I know sometimes when I tell them to give people advice, the first thing to do is look at me and just be like, I can't do what this dude's doing. Like, he's spending this much time in the gym. He's eating this way. Like, I'd rather eat this. I'd rather do that. And I'm not saying you have to do what I do. You don't have to be as intense. That's my whole logo. You don't have to be as intense as me, but you have to find your own level of intensity. And when I say intensity, I don't just mean intensity as far as the gym. It's just intensity as far as life. If you want to be successful in life, you got to be passionate. You got to be intense about your family, your job, your level of fitness, or whatever goals you set in front of you. You have to be intense and passionate about it. So I usually tell people, when it comes down to diet, I don't bombard people with a ton of information. Sometimes they tend to think, damn, it's too much. If I need all that, I can't do it. So I give very small advice, like very small tips to follow. Once they start to see a little results, Jamal, what else can I do? I'll give them a little bit more. So it's never unbearable. It's the same way when it comes to fitness. Don't think that you have to do everything tomorrow. Even if you say to yourself, all right, I'm going to get on the treadmill today for 5 minutes. Every day, I'm going to increase my treadmill jog or walk for 1 minute. 1 minute. Increase it every day, 1 minute. That's it. So here we go. 30 days later, 35 minutes. You're doing on the treadmill.
Yep.
60 days later, you don't got to go that crazy, but
Yeah.
60 days later, it's 65 minutes on the treadmill. But you've taken your time, your body adapts to it. It never becomes something unbearable. But
Sure.
you don't have to take it 60 days, but you understand what I'm saying. Like, you just add something little.
Yeah.
I'm going to do
Each
10
day.
push-ups today. I'm going to try to do 10 push-ups every day for a week. These 10 are easy. I'm going to do 15 push-ups a day with 10 crunches for week number 2.
Just build it
And
up.
just slowly build it up. You don't got to go being like, oh, I got to warm up with deadlifts, power cleans. No, it doesn't have to be that. You know yourself. You just take your time and fall back in love with being in shape and that feeling. That euphoric feeling you get from being in the gym, that stress relief you get from being in the gym, start that relationship back up again. Fall back in love with that relationship.
That's awesome.
It's a must. Just fall back in love with yourself. You're doing it for yourself. You're doing it for you. You're doing it for your business, for your family, for the people that trust you and look up to you. If you're teaching little kids, you got to do this. You don't understand what you do when you're standing in front of a class of little kids and even your shirt is untucked as a karate instructor. The kids aren't going to care about it either. But if you're always kept, they won't have a problem coming into class making sure their gi is closed perfect and the knot is done well. Other than that, if you look disheveled, they're going to come in and they're not going to give a shit either.
Yep.
That's how it is.
Tell
Attitude
them-
reflects leadership.
Tell them to practice when you're not doing it yourself. They know.
Exactly. Exactly.
Kids can smell that stuff.
Exactly. If they say, how do you do that? And you can't perform the move. That's one of my pet peeves. I hate to see trainers. I should make a TV show. I hate to see trainers who scream and yell at their clients or push their clients to a level that they can't do themselves.
Yep.
But raise their voice, like they may even scream and yell and talk down to them, or hold on,
Jamal. In the 70s, I won a tournament. So like you should have seen me back then.
No. And I just would love to be like, listen, you know what? Well, come over here. No, just the trainers. Come and work out with me. I won't even raise my voice. Don't scream and yell at anybody. That may not work. It may not be what they need. I was like, you're breaking people down for no reason.
Yeah.
You're supposed to build them up, But people know. They look at you. They're like, listen, I don't understand what you're saying. Well, what move I'm supposed to do? Can you show it to me, please? And you botch it. Come on.
Yeah.
Don't be that.
So I know you've trained a lot of high-level athletes, and one thing I'm obsessed with, and I think Tim Grover's book Relentless got me like obsessed with this, is how high-level athletes think differently than everybody else.
100%.
And I got to go to a mastermind where the trainer for the Yankees was there speaking, and like I was like drawn into every word. And I think that's what drew me to you a lot too, is because you know so much about like that, the mindset difference. Based on the people that you've trained that are at that high level, what do you see in their mindset that makes what they do and how they train different from what the average guy does?
Majority athletes are different in many ways, but similar in many as well. So they usually tend to not have a no quit attitude.
Yeah.
Okay. They tend to be just like the word you just used, relentless in moving towards their goals. Whether or not they stay that way after they reach it is a different story.
Sure.
But everybody has something that drives them, and they can be relentless to move towards it. But when it comes down to actually performing, it's how they're able to grasp the moment and deal with the moment. So some people say they want to be that guy. Bottom of the ninth, 2 outs, bases loaded, down by 2, you're up at the plate. 3 balls, 2 strikes. No, you don't. You done shit yourself like 3 dreams ago.
Yeah.
You don't want that. They say they want
Yep.
it. Some people, they don't really want it. They'd rather be pass the ball so somebody else can get fouled and take the free throw. You know what I mean? They'd rather be that person. They don't want to be the guy taking the free throw. They don't want to be the guy with, bases loaded. They don't want to be that guy. Professional athletes, deep down, want to be that guy. And even if they fail, they don't lose the lust for wanting to be that guy.
I think there was a stat for Kobe for a while. I don't remember what year it was, but he had missed the most game-winning shots, but he still made more than he missed, like by a long shot. And he's one of the guys that has like that relentless mindset that really didn't give a shit. He knew it was going to go down eventually. And
best analogy for mindset, Brett Favre. You could say mindset or amnesia. First possession, first play, pass, interception, run back for a touchdown. Brett Favre gets the ball back. Second possession, third play, deep pass, interception, run back for a touchdown, and down 14-0. Third possession, interception. Brett Favre, they go into halftime down 21-0. Brett Favre has thrown for negative yards or whatever, interceptions. Comes out in the second half, 5 straight touchdown passes.
It's ridiculous.
The non-Hall of Famer would have been wanting to pass the ball. Audible.
Yep.
Pass the ball.
Hand off.
He still wants the ball in his hand, and he still believes he can make that touchdown pass. Call it amnesia, call it relentless, whatever you like. But that's what makes them different.
That's awesome.
That's definitely what makes them different.
Cool. And one of the things that I want to promote, and I don't even know if Jamal planned on pushing this or not, is since I've been able to go through Jamal's workout plans, and we're starting eating plan next for me. Like it's been some of the best workouts ever, and honestly, like I've done a lot of sports throughout my life. I feel muscles that I didn't know existed still when I do Jamal's workouts, and they're awesome. And I know the results that his clients get are phenomenal. So Jamal, you're doing a 30-day like transformation fitness challenge.
Yes.
And I think one of the dope things about it is all based online, right?
Yep. We're starting on the 22nd. I'm doing a 30-day challenge. It's 30 days from the week of Thanksgiving. So it starts on the 22nd to the 21st. And I believe Thanksgiving is on the 22nd, November.
Yep.
So what I'm trying to do is that holiday season, starting from Thanksgiving on to New Year's, people put on anywhere between 8 to about 15 pounds of unwanted weight.
Sure.
So what I want to do is I want to kind of get you set with meal plan and jumpstart your metabolism
Before the holidays.
So we can come in to Thanksgiving with a little bit of a loss already as it is, but with a heightened metabolism. And you can indulge on Thanksgiving and the morning afterwards or whatever, and however long you have a little bit of leftovers. But I'm going to try to teach people also how to keep themselves accountable. You know what you were doing beforehand. You know these workouts. You know how you felt. You saw the results. Just because you're enjoying Thanksgiving don't mean that you have to not take care of yourself. You can indulge. You can have a good time. You can enjoy yourself. But make sure you also pay yourself back too.
Yeah.
So it's going to teach people how to get in the gym and through certain days of metabolic training, how to jumpstart your metabolism, how to get great, calorie burn, and just put you in the right mindset of holding yourself accountable throughout this holiday season that's about to come.
That's awesome. And I know you're giving people workouts, whether they're someone that likes to work out at the gym or at home, right?
Both.
You're gonna have the meal plans on advising them what to eat, which is awesome. And guys, here's the thing, like that. I don't know, like when I realized it might have been after that boxing class, but I've always been like in good shape my whole life. Always been like very athletic and stuff, and like did gymnastics in high school, and all that stuff came easy to me. As I got older, though, like I just kept doing the same workout, expecting the same, like different results. And I must have been going to the gym like 4 days a week for a year and a half straight. And there was no change from the time I started to the end of the year and a half. Like maybe I cut a little fat or something. And then I finally realized, like, I've gotten business mentoring before. I've gotten spiritual mentoring before. Like, I've had martial art coaches. I've had gymnastics coaches. Like, why the hell am I trying to get in great shape and not have someone mentor me or coach me up on that? Because obviously you guys can already tell just from this conversation, Jamal knows a hell of a lot more about my body than even I know, just based on how it works and how to cut calories and everything. So that's when I realized, like, shit, I need to go to Jamal for mentoring, and you've been mentoring Nick as well, and Aka, and all of us are doing his workout plan. We love him and hate him pretty much every day, depending, especially if it's leg day or not. But for you guys that are entrepreneurs listening to this, like, I'm challenging you guys to do this with us, with Nick, myself. I know Nick's wife is doing it as well, Aka, and jump on this 30-day challenge with us. And I think it's something that, as entrepreneurs all pretty much in the same space, that we can hold each other accountable. I know Jamal's gonna help hold everyone accountable, but I think it's something positive that we can do, where we can look at our before pictures, look at our after pictures in 30 days and be like, damn, that was the biggest transformation we've had in such a short time, like in our entire lives. And I don't think you guys could have someone better putting together this plan for you than Jamal. So what I'll do, Jamal, is I'll put a link to where they can register for the 30-day transformation challenge.
Thank you.
Join it with Nick and I, guys. We're going to have fun with it too. And if you guys know Nick and myself, we don't take ourselves too seriously anyway. But it'll be a good time.
Fun. Definitely going to be fun.
All right,
it's going to be great.
So last thing, Jamal, I finish all my podcasts with is the Quickfire session. So we're just going to do a bunch of Quickfire questions. All right. So favorite movie of all time?
It's got to be Commando. It's the first movie I ever saw in my life.
I saw that coming. That was awesome. What is your must-have book? Like, if you had to tell everyone that's listening to go read one book.
I hate to even say this because it's the first book I ever read. The Bodybuilding Encyclopedia by Arnold Schwarzenegger. No. My go-to book.
Or like, if there's like one book that like changed everything.
I loved Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
That's a great book.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Love that
Very
book.
Cool. What is your what's your like go-to pump up song, like before a competition or before you work out?
Before I go to work out, favorite song.
I know Jamal's always rocking Getting Jiggy with it, like right before.
Nah, any Biggie song from the first album.
Awesome.
I can listen to the whole first album throughout the car ride to the gym and during the workout. I can keep it on repeat.
Biggie is the king.
Yes.
He's the king. That's awesome, man. Life After Death was also one of my favorite Biggie albums.
Well, everything is good. I have all of it on the iPod, but when I'm in a mood, it's just
baby.
Yeah.
Awesome. If you had a billboard, and I stole this question from Tim Ferriss, his podcast, but if you had a billboard that could have like one saying, one phrase or something that's like your motto, what you live by, that people look and like, that's Jamal right there.
Intensity is a way of life. That's it.
That's
my key.
You know what I love about that is I like to people watch. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times when I'm at the gym, I'll just sort of look around and sort of see everyone's face. And like everyone tends to have a complacent look on their face everywhere you go.
And I can't.
And
I want to help all of them.
It's almost like
I want to help.
You remember back in high school, like when you're walking through the hallways, the same facial expression on everyone's face is what you see like everywhere.
Everywhere.
Just like, okay. And I think sometimes
everybody's got that look of determination.
Yes. And you see it on the like athletic side, fitness side of it. I think I tend to see it more on like the business side of it, like where I want people to be like intense, like marketing, making money, like hustling, that stuff.
Yeah.
And like the same thing is true with that. And I think you start to get like a certain level of success and you start to notice it more in other people. And it's almost like they're moving in slow motion.
Yeah.
Compared to what you're doing. So
slowly, for lack of better terms, they're moving backwards.
Yeah.
Because they're aging, but not getting any better.
I love it, man. That's awesome. All right, and I know you have some martial arts background, right?
Well, I've been martial arts since I was 5.
Oh, damn.
Kickboxing.
I didn't even know that.
Taekwondo, kickboxing.
All right, so I have to ask you this question. What's your favorite martial arts movie of all time?
Ah, yes. See, now I feel like I'll be doing Bruce Lee some injustice by saying this, but I love all Bruce Lee movies. But my favorite martial art movie of all time was 36 Chambers. It's a kung fu movie.
It's one of my favorite albums of all time.
It's old. Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
Wu-Tang. 36 Chambers.
Now it's time to take a punch in the face.
Hey guys, in today's segment, Punch in the Face, I want to talk to you guys about breaking through your limitations and the barriers that are keeping you from getting where you need to go. So one of the things that I figured out a long time ago is that I was just in a stuck mentality. And I had been in the same place for years, not really growing, not really moving the needle forward at all, and just sort of had that stuck feeling. And I remember at the time, my wife and I were really living paycheck to paycheck. We were expecting my first son at the time, and It just was not a great place to be. And it took a mindset shift on my part to break out of that rut, to break out of that stuck feeling. And really, guys, it came from a few different things. Like, number one, I started reading, and I started reading all the time. I'd always been someone that like never wanted to pick up a book. I was the kid in high school that was always looking at Cliff Notes to do my book reports, and that's just sort of how my mentality has always been about reading. I just thought it was sort of boring. And as soon as I started picking up more books and really diving into personal growth and development, learning more about marketing and business, it started to create a mindset shift in me. The second thing that I did around the same time is I changed my circle of influence. I changed the people that I was learning from, the people that I was hanging out with most of the time. And that, again, created a really, really big mindset shift, because I started to hang around people that were doing better than me in different categories. So like, for example, for business, I started hanging around Nick D and Aka. For spirituality, I started hanging around people that had been more faithful than me with their spirituality, and just tried to do everything I could to learn from them. For martial arts training at the time, I hired someone to train me specifically on tricking and jump kicks in the martial arts that I wanted to learn. And as soon as all of that started to go into play, like, I started to see growth in all of those areas. And the problem was, without my mindset changing, I was going to remain in the same place. And I was just so tired of being stuck that I was willing to make whatever changes needed in order to move on to the next place. And I remember, for example, my first business call with Nick, my first mentoring call, like, I just decided on that call that no matter what Nick asked me to do, I was going to do it. And I was going to put everything I had into it. And really, that was a huge turning point in my life to get me through the barriers to really start earning more money, becoming more successful, becoming happier, and really being able to provide a better life for my family. So what I want you guys to do is, and I encourage everyone to do this, and it's an exercise that I've done many times in the last few years, is to really sit down and sort of write down what is limiting you right now. What's keeping you stuck in the same place? Is it that you make yourself watch a certain amount of TV every day, or you tell yourself you can't miss a certain show? Is it that you tell yourself you don't have enough time, or you keep telling yourself, well, once I do this, then I'll get this, or then I'll be successful? It's those limiting beliefs that hold you back from greatness. So I encourage you guys to really do a self-evaluation of what that limitation is. What are those things that you're telling yourself that are just limiting beliefs? And the next thing is, what beliefs and what thoughts are going to replace those limiting beliefs? So, for example, like, I think for me, for a long time, I was telling myself I couldn't get up early. Like, that I was a night owl. I was like, man, I can't get up early to work out and read and do all these things. And one day I just decided that I was going to change that, and I started waking up at 5:30. I started waking up at 7 first, which was early for me at the time. And then once I was waking up at 7 consistently, then I was like, wait, I can do it earlier. And I started waking up at 6, and now 5:30. And that was a belief that was limiting my progress, because I gained an extra 2.5 hours a day, which, add that up, after 365 days, adding an extra 2.5 hours, that's like gaining weeks, extra weeks on my year that I now have to be more productive that I wasn't using before. So think about those limiting beliefs. What are they? Write them down, and then write down the thought processes that are going to replace those. That's it, guys. That's it. It's a really simple exercise for you to do, but it's going to really help you to grow personally and financially. And then next week, guys, I'm super excited. We have Carlos Machado coming back on the show. If you guys don't know Carlos, he is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu champion, a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu legend, has trained people like Wonderboy Thompson, is part of the most famous families in all of Jiu-Jitsu. So we're really excited to have him on the show. He's going to be giving you guys some different tips as far as his mindset, mentality, and running a business goes. So we're really excited to have him on next week. All right, guys, we'll see you on the next episode of the Level Up Lounge.